Hey, Michael here from Fraud Monitor. As I was going through our honeypots looking for this week's scams, I found an interesting Bank of America scam that involves a phishing site. So I'm going to show you what this variant does and how to avoid it. So you may get directed to this Bank of America site. It looks pretty legitimate. It presents a reCAPTCHA, I'm not a robot form. Looks pretty, legitimate and standard. You've seen these all over the place. If you look at their URL closely, you'll notice that the site is actually not Bank of America. It's 72811-bankofamerica.com. This is typical of a criminal phishing website where they try to make it look like a real domain but add a couple of letters and numbers in front of it to try to trick you into trusting that this site is legitimate. All right, so let's proceed as if we are being scammed. I'm not a robot. Select all squares with motorcycles. I guess I missed a couple. So this next step is where this fraud really starts. Let's go ahead and follow these steps. Command space, type terminal. I already have it open over here. In the terminal, press Command V. So let's go ahead and do that, but we're not going to press Enter. So let's zoom in on this and see what happens. It wants you to execute this command here. What this command does, it runs curl, which is a legitimate tool to go read a website remotely in your terminal window. And it's connecting to reCAPTCHA.support/human/verify.sh and effectively download this file and then run it. But we're definitely not going to do that. And if you notice here, reCAPTCHA.support, that's not the reCAPTCHA website. Let's go ahead and try to load that in the browser, see what happens. Yeah, there's nothing there. So let's go download this file and check it out. Okay, I've downloaded the file. Let's see what it does. Okay, so if I run this, it's going to prompt me to enter my system password. It's going to read that password and then attempt to authenticate with it locally on your Mac. And then write that password value to a file in your temp directory called .pass. Then it's going to use curl again to grab this file, update, and store it in temp update. Then it's going to take your password and pipe it to standard out and applying the X attribute command against the file update to strip any other attributes from that file itself. It's going to hmod, add the execute attribute to the file, and then it's going to run the file. So what does that file do? Let's go there next. So interesting here is that if I try a wget on the update file at this URL, we get 404 not found. Let's try another method. So the file is there. So what they're doing here is really detecting if you're trying to use wget to download the file, but if you use curl or a browser, you will get it. Okay, I definitely don't want to run this update file, open it, or do anything with it, so I'm not sure what it does. So let's see if we can get some information about the file here. So we can see it's definitely an executable, so we definitely don't want to run this thing. Let's upload it to a service and see if we can get more information about it. So we're going to go to virustotal.com. So VirusTotal is really cool. It'll take this file and execute it against signatures across a number of different services. And you can clearly see that this is the MacOS Stealer Trojan. And what does it do? So if you go to the details page, it gives you a host of information about the file itself, the architecture upon which it was compiled, any shared libraries that are in use. But if you go into behavior, you'll get some deep details in terms of what it'll do on your system. It uses a handful of the standard Apple libraries and frameworks that really any application would perform. It utilizes a local script execution, and then it'll grab system profile, which grabs information about the system that you're running. And then it uses communication over HTTPS across a variety of services. Next up are the file system actions. It'll show you what it attempts to open and use on your system. Looks like it looks at that mailbox shortcuts and messages app content perhaps, then a whole bunch of system profiler information. So if we look up the name of the Trojan, this has been discussed quite often, starting way back in 2023. I've read that typically this is distributed through a Mac install package, like a DMG file, right? But in this case, it looks like the criminals are basically using a common tactic to trick you into copy pasting a command by a fake banking site or any sort of phishing site that you see. And according to this article here from way back when, the script itself was sold via Telegram. So these are criminals basically interacting on Telegram privately. Because Telegram's end-to-end encrypted and no one can see what they're doing, it's a perfect place for criminals to trade, to sell scripts like this, and even the data that comes out of targeting victims. So let's go back to the script and see what happens next. So let's pretend I ran the script and it downloaded and compromised my computer. Yeah, it'll probably say I'm not a robot, recapture verification ID, so-and-so, right? That's the output. In the case that you were tricked into copy pasting that command and hitting enter, all that action occurs on the background on your computer, and that script probably prints out something like this below. So when you click verify, nothing happens because why would it? Your computer has been compromised. Your credentials have probably been stolen already and are now on the way to Telegram and into the hands of the criminals. So at this point, what can you do? Well, you're going to have to reset all your passwords immediately, like your computer, your bank, your Google Password Manager. If you go to your Google Password Manager or whatever password manager that you use, you'll have to look through all of those websites where you have a password saved and change them all, starting with your banks and then going on from there. It's also important that if you're a crypto trader and you have a wallet, you're going to want to create a new wallet and transfer your funds to it so that the criminal can't open your wallet using a private key in the event that they stole it. I would take every precaution and change everything, effectively start from the beginning. This is a really tough one. Now, if you have an antivirus program running on your Mac, like Malware or Avast or something like that, then chances are it would have caught the execution of this file before it caused any damage, right? And Mac users like myself, we've been pretty lucky where criminals haven't really targeted us all that much, but that's changed, right? It's really important that you run an anti-malware service on your computer and make sure you pay attention to the warnings and keep it updated regularly. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and if you like my content, please like and subscribe. Send this video to your friends and loved ones. Be careful out there and know before you click.